Welcome to the deep dive. So I want you to imagine this. It is, let's say, 10 p.m. on Tuesday.
Okay, late at night.
Right. You step out onto your front porch, just to bring in the recycling bin or whatever. You look up and you see it. Just this massive, swarming wasp nest right above your front door.
Oh, that's a nightmare scenario right there.
It's terrifying. Yeah. So you're instantly panic, right? You pull out your phone, you frantically search for local pest control. You call the first number, it rings like 4 times, goes straight to voicemail.
Classic.
Yeah. So you call the second number. Same thing, just an automated message, telling you their business hours are 8 to 5.
Which does not help you at 10 p.m.
Exactly. So you call the third number, and someone actually answers the phone. And at that exact moment, it honestly doesn't matter what that third company charges. I mean, they are getting your money.
Because in that moment of high anxiety, availability is literally the only metric that actually matters to you.
Right.
The business that answers the phone wins the job. It really is that simple.
And that high stakes, midnight panic scenario, that is exactly what we are focusing on today.
It's a great setup for what we're talking about.
Yeah, we have this really in-depth 2026 guide from the Service Agent blog. It's written by a software reviewer named Shampov. And it's basically a comprehensive breakdown of the 7 best AI answering services for pest control companies in 2026.
Which sounds very niche, I know.
It does. But our mission today isn't really just about bugs. We are using this incredibly specific, high-urgency world of pest control as like a lens to understand the total revolution happening right now in customer service.
Yeah, the landscape is shifting so fast.
It is. We're going to figure out how businesses across the board are actively deciding between, handing the reins entirely over to robots, sticking with humans, or trying to somehow mash the two together.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how clearly this source outlines the real-world stakes of that decision.
Because it's not just a small choice.
No, not at all. For a business owner, picking the wrong answering service isn't just like a minor administrative hiccup. It is a cascading operational failure.
Wow, cascading.
Seriously. If you choose poorly, you end up overpaying per minute for spam calls. You exhaust your front desk staff because they're already buried in repetitive, low-value questions.
Right. What are your hours? That kind of thing.
Exactly. And worst of all, you bleed revenue from those missed after-hours bookings. I mean, that single missed 10 p.m. wasp nest call we just talked about, that might be a $1,000 job that goes straight to a competitor just because you didn't pick up.
Right. The financial penalty for missing the phone is just huge.
Yeah.
So to really understand this landscape, I think we need to start by looking at the 2 absolute extremes of the market.
The polar opposites.
Exactly. On one side, we have companies that are handing the keys entirely over to artificial intelligence. And on the other side, we have businesses paying top dollar for premium, white glove, human-to-human interaction.
Right. Let's look at the AI side first.
Yeah, let's start with the bots. The source introduces us to a platform called Avoca AI. And we need to be really clear here. This isn't just an old-school automated directory where some robot voice says, press 1 for hours.
Oh, no, not at all.
Right. This software is designed to replace the human customer service representative entirely.
And that's a crucial distinction to make. The old systems, they were called IVR's interactive voice response.
The ones we all hate.
Exactly. They were basically just audio menus that frustrated callers to no end. But Avoca is what the author calls a purpose-built AI workforce.
Which means what exactly in practice?
It means it uses large language models that have been deeply trained on massive amounts of conversational data specific to the industry. So it doesn't just route you. It actively understands the nuanced context.
Okay.
Like it can parse the difference between a caller saying, hey, I saw an ant on the patio and there is a raccoon in my baby's bedroom.
Huge difference in urgency there.
Exactly. It understands those varying levels of urgency and applies dispatch logic automatically, entirely without human intervention.
That's wild. And the results they claim in the source are, frankly, wild too. The article highlights one pest control company that saw their booking rate skyrocket from 55% all the way up to 90% after switching to Avoca.
That is a massive jump.
Wait, really? 90? Yeah. It was so effective they were filling up their dispatch boards so fast they actually had to go out and hire more technicians just to keep up with the work. They captured all that leaked revenue.
Which fundamentally changes the unit economics of a service business, right?
How so?
Well, think about it. If you are paying a marketing agency thousands of dollars to make your phone ring, but you're missing half those calls, you are basically throwing money into a fire. Fixing that leak pays for the software almost instantly.
Okay, let's unpack this,
Yeah.
because there's a glaring red flag in the source material about Avoca.
The pricing.
Yes, Avoca has a major flaw. They do not publish their pricing publicly.
Right, you have to dig for it.
You literally have to get on a sales call to even find out what it costs. To me, that is the software equivalent of going to a fancy seafood restaurant and seeing market price listed next to the lobster.
That is a perfect analogy.
Right. Like if you have to ask, you probably can't afford it. And frankly, it makes me wonder about the edge cases. I mean, can a pure AI really handle the emotional volatility of a panicked homeowner dealing with a midnight rat infestation?
That's the big fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if that caller just ends up screaming at a robot that doesn't quite understand their terror, that technology breaks down entirely.
I'd actually push back on that assumption just a bit, though.
Really? You think a bot can handle the panic?
Well, the empathy gap is definitely real. A machine obviously does not actually feel bad that you have rats.
Right, doesn't care.
But the data strongly suggests that speed is often an incredibly effective substitute for empathy in an emergency.
Oh, interesting. Action over sympathy.
Exactly. An AI answers on the first ring with zero hold time and immediately begins solving the problem. That immediate action often calms a frantic caller down much faster than, say, listening to a human's phone ring for 2 minutes, only to be placed on a 20-minute hold.
Okay, that is a fair point. But for business owners who absolutely refuse to risk a robot misreading the emotional tone of a panicked caller, there's the complete opposite end of the spectrum, right?
Yes, the premium human fallbacks.
Right. The guide highlights a service like Ruby Receptionists for this exact scenario.
Yeah, so if you pivot to Ruby, you are actively prioritizing human warmth above all else.
Which people do want.
Absolutely. Ruby provides highly trained live humans who sound like an actual in-house extension of your team, but that level of bespoke, empathetic human touch comes at a very steep cost.
How steep are we talking?
The source notes that Ruby is wildly expensive. It's roughly $235 a month for just 100 minutes of talk time.
Wait, let's do the math on that.
Yeah.
100 minutes of talk time over a 30-day month. That is about 3 minutes a day.
Yep. Not a lot of buffer there.
That is literally one chatty customer asking about the safety of a pesticide, and your entire daily allotment is gone. You'd burn through that by the first Tuesday of the month.
You really would. And the friction doesn't stop with just the base price tag.
Oh no, what else?
The source highlights severe user complaints regarding Ruby's billing transparency. Users actually complain that it takes, quote, years to figure out the billing structure.
Years? That's insane.
Right. When you are paying a premium for human interaction, you want predictable overhead, not opaque invoices where you are terrified to look at your overreach charges every month.
So if Ruby offers empathy, but their billing is terrifyingly opaque, I imagine business owners are naturally forced to look for a transparent alternative.
They are, which logically brings us to the other human option the author reviews, PatLive.
Okay, what's their deal?
So PatLive provides that transparency that Ruby lacks. They offer 100% US-based agents, and they boast an average answer time of just 8 seconds.
Wow, 8 seconds, which completely solves the 10 p.m. voicemail problem we started with.
Exactly. And unlike Ruby, you know exactly what you are paying. It's $205 for 75 minutes, and crucially, there are no long-term contracts.
Which sounds great, right?
Yeah.
But reading the source, that transparency comes at a pretty severe cost to technical integration.
It's a huge trade-off.
Yeah, PatLive has zero AI automation and zero integration with customer relationship management software. Like, none. They just answer the phone, write down a message, and send it to you.
Which creates a massive secondary problem for the business.
Because of the manual work.
Right. Imagine the dispatcher arriving at the office at 7 a.m. They brew their coffee, they open their email, and they find 12 messages from PatLive that were taken overnight.
Okay, sounds good so far.
Sure, the answering service did its job by capturing the call, but now the dispatcher has to spend the next 45 minutes manually copying and pasting names, addresses, phone numbers, and pest issues from those emails into their own routing software.
Oh, that sounds miserable.
It is. You are paying for the human voice, but you are creating manual data entry work for yourself on the back end, completely negating any time you thought you saved.
So we have this stark divide that is just full of operational friction.
Very much so.
Like pure AI, like Avoca, feels incredibly powerful for scaling and data integration, but the pricing is completely hidden, and the lack of human empathy is a real risk. Meanwhile, pure human agents from Ruby or PatLive provide that warmth, but they are either astronomically expensive with opaque billing, or they lack the technical integration to actually run the business smoothly.
Right. You're forced to choose your pain point.
Exactly. So how do businesses bridge this gap? Well, they search for the middle ground, the hybrid approach.
And it's the logical evolution. Businesses are asking, basically, how do we get the infinite scale and technical integration of AI without losing the safety net of human judgment?
Best of both worlds, ideally.
Right. And that's where a platform like Smith.ai enters the conversation.
Tell me about them.
Smith.ai pairs AI technology, which handles the routine, high-volume stuff like office hours or basic service areas, with actual live human receptionists who step in for complex, lead qualification and sensitive intake.
And according to the source, the market really responds to this. The guide points out they have a 4.7 out of 5 rating on G2.
Which is really high.
Yeah, for anyone who relies on peer-to-peer software reviews, you know that is a massive vote of confidence from actual users. But what really jumped out at me wasn't the rating, it was their billing model.
Oh, right. It's totally different.
Yeah, instead of billing per minute, like the human services do, Smith.ai bills per call. It's about $292 a month for 30 calls.
Okay, 30 calls.
Now think about this analogy. Per call billing feels exactly like walking into an all-you-can-eat buffet.
I like where this is going.
It is a fantastic deal if you are starving, and that caller has a highly complex 20-minute problem that requires massive intake, routing, and scheduling. You definitely got your money's worth out of that one billable call.
Because the meter isn't running.
Right. But if someone calls and just asks, hey, what are your hours on Saturday? And then hangs up in 30 seconds. Well, you just paid buffet prices for a glass of water. That is a terrible deal.
The buffet analogy is a great way to visualize it. The per-call model essentially shifts the financial risk of call length away from you and onto the software provider.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, if a call takes an hour, Smith.ai eats that labor cost, not you. But the trade-off is that you pay a high premium for that insurance policy. And what's interesting in the source is that this hybrid model introduces its own unique friction.
Subjective billing, right?
Exactly, subjective billing.
Yeah, the reviewers are still frustrated. The guide notes that users specifically complain about confusing fees regarding what actually counts as, in quote, in-depth intake versus just a regular call.
It gets messy.
It does. Aren't these hybrid systems just combining the worst billing problems of both the human and the software worlds? Because you're still arguing over what constitutes a billable event.
It highlights a core truth about operational compromises. They inherently carry the friction of both sides. When you introduce humans to qualify leads, you have to define their labor.
Which is really hard to do.
Very. Was that a simple question, or did it cross the threshold into an in-depth intake? That ambiguity really frustrates business owners who operate on tight margins and just want predictable monthly expenses.
Right. And speaking of complex operations, this frustration with scaling human labor brings us to the heavyweight in the middle ground, Nexa. Because if you think defining an in-depth intake for one truck is hard, try doing it for 20.
Oh, yeah. Nexa is tailored specifically for large multi-truck operations.
The big fleets.
Right. If you have a massive fleet, your needs are exponentially more complex. Nexa's differentiator is that they provide native bilingual answering in English and Spanish, and they handle highly complex after-hours dispatching.
So they're basically doing logistics at that point.
Exactly. If you have 20 technicians spread across a major city, Nexa can route that midnight rat infestation call to the exact right technician who is on call in that specific zip code. That requires serious logistical mapping.
Which is incredibly valuable. But again, reading the guide, the friction returns to the invoice. The guide points out a major user complaint with Nexa. They charge what users feel are hidden fees for non-call work.
Yeah, and let's break down what that non-call work actually looks like in practice because it's important.
Please do.
So the Nexa agent finishes a 3-minute phone call with a customer. They hang up, but their job isn't done.
Right, they have to do the admin stuff.
Exactly. Now they have to log the ticket in the software, send an SMS alert to the on-call technician, and maybe email the customer a property preparation sheet for the upcoming treatment.
Okay.
That administrative work might take 4 or 5 minutes. You are getting billed for all of that post-call time. It massively inflates the actual costs, well beyond just the talk time you see on the surface.
Oh, wow. So if we take a step back and look at this entire landscape, the frustration is just palpable.
It really is.
You have opaque billing from companies like Nexa and Ruby. You have expensive per-call rates from hybrids like Smith.ai. And you have the manual data entry nightmares of Pat Live.
Nobody's totally happy.
Right. And this collective frustration has created a massive, glaring opening in the market for radical affordability. Because let's talk about the unit economics of a blue-collar business for a second.
It's totally different than enterprise.
Exactly. If you are a solo operator with one truck, your profit margin on a wasp nest removal might only be like $80. You literally cannot afford a $300 a month answering service plus minute overages just to run your front desk. The math just doesn't work.
It doesn't.
And this reality has forced the software industry to fundamentally change its business model to capture the little guy.
The barrier to entry simply had to come down. And that brings us to the tool the guide calls the solo savior, which is Rosie AI.
Let's talk about Rosie.
This is a platform specifically designed for that one truck operation. The pricing is a fraction of the enterprise tools. It costs just $49 a month, plus less than 20 cents per minute of usage.
That is dirt cheap compared to the others.
Yeah.
But what is truly impressive here isn't just the cheap price, it's how the technology actually functions.
It's super smart.
Yeah, the source notes that Rosie understands native pest control lingo right out of the box. And that mechanism is fascinating to me.
Right.
In the past, if you bought cheap software, you had to spend weeks programming it yourself.
Oh, yeah, building out huge decision trees.
Right, like if the caller says X, route them to Y. But with Rosie, you don't have to program anything. The large language model has already ingested thousands of pest control manuals and call transcripts.
It's pre-trained.
Exactly. So if a frantic caller says, hey, we've got mud daubers on the siding, Rosie doesn't get confused by the colloquialism.
Knows what that is.
Yes. It already knows that a mud dauber is a type of wasp. It knows what treatment that requires, and it automatically knows how to book that specific job.
It's basically offering enterprise-level contextual understanding at a consumer-level price.
Which is amazing.
It is. But to maintain that $49 price point, Rosie has to strip away all the heavy machinery.
So what's missing?
The operational trade-off is that it has no CRM or invoicing built in. It is purely a conversational layer.
Okay.
It will brilliantly answer the phone and book the appointment, but you still have to manually run the entire business side of things afterward. You know, sending the invoices, managing the calendar, tracking the customer history.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because the guide finally introduces us to the true freemium disruptor.
Service agent.
This is the big one. Yeah. This platform just launched in April 2025, and their business model completely throws out the traditional software playbook. They give away the core platform completely for free.
Which sounds impossible.
Right. $0 a month for the CRM, the calendar, and the invoicing software. You pay absolutely nothing for the infrastructure. You only pay a usage fee when the AI actually handles a call or processes a payment for you.
And the performance metrics they are claiming are highly disruptive for a free tool.
What kind of numbers are they seeing?
The source highlights verified outcomes showing a 75% booking conversion rate and a 77% drop in customer no-shows.
Wait, a 77% drop. How are they getting that massive drop in no-shows?
It's mostly driven by their automated follow-up mechanism.
Okay, how does that work?
The system automatically sends text reminders and preparation instructions leading up to the appointment. That drastically reduces the friction of customers simply forgetting or not being ready when the technician arrives.
Wow. Let me give you an analogy for this business model because it is just wild to me.
Let's hear it.
It is like a commercial real estate company giving you a fully furnished, state-of-the-art office building, complete with desks, computers, scheduling software, and a coffee machine, totally for free.
Just handing it over.
They just hand you the keys. And the only time you ever pay them is a few cents every time you physically open the front door to let a paying customer inside.
It's a great analogy.
It completely removes the risk of a monthly subscription. But I have to be skeptical here.
Naturally.
Since Service Agent is so new, I mean, it launched just last year, the guide explicitly notes they lack G2 reviews. Isn't relying on a free, fundamentally unproven front office platform a massive existential risk for a small business? Like if the free software crashes, your entire business stops.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you're really observing the bleeding edge of a total paradigm shift in software economics.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, yes, adopting early-stage technology definitely carries inherent operational risk. But the freemium model of service agent represents where all software as a service is heading.
Oh, really? All of it?
I believe so. Historically, software companies charged you a tax just to access their tools. That's your $300 monthly subscription fee. You paid that tax whether your business made money that month or not.
Right, they get paid either way.
Exactly. What Service Agent is doing is aligning their success entirely with your success. The transaction itself is becoming the product.
Interesting.
By removing the upfront financial barrier for small businesses, they are democratizing access to tools that were previously gatekept by high monthly fees. You only pay when the tool actively generates revenue or completes a tangible task.
So the software company is essentially betting on their own AI.
Precisely.
If their AI doesn't successfully book the job over the phone, they don't get paid.
It aligns the incentives perfectly. It forces the developers to make the AI incredibly effective because their own revenue depends on its performance, not just on locking you into a yearly contract.
So what does this all mean? We have gone on quite a journey today.
We really have.
We started with a $49 a month solo AI bot that has learned how to recognize local slang for a wasp nest over the phone, and we scaled all the way up to massive bilingual dispatch fleets, managing dozens of trucks, and coordinating complex after-hours routing.
It's a wide spectrum.
It is. And what this source clearly illustrates is that the AI revolution isn't just a monolithic, one-size-fits-all thing. It is custom tailoring itself to fit the exact unit economics of every possible business size.
And honestly, the fragmentation of this market is the real takeaway here.
Tell me more about that.
Well, whether a business needs a pure AI conversationalist, a hybrid human-AI safety net, a premium human fallback, or a freemium platform that aligns with their revenue, the options now exist. Automation has shifted from being a massive, expensive luxury to a highly specialized, hyper-targeted utility.
And this applies directly to you, listening right now.
Yeah.
Even if you never stepped foot inside a pest control truck, your own industry, whether you're in real estate, healthcare, law, or retail, is rapidly approaching this exact same crossroads.
It's happening everywhere.
Every business in every sector is currently weighing the financial cost of automation against the perceived value of the human touch.
It's an unavoidable transition for every industry. And as this technology rapidly evolves, as the friction between human costs and AI efficiency continues to shrink, it raises an important, almost philosophical question for us to consider.
What's that?
We talked at the very beginning about the sheer anxiety of that 10 p.m. phone call about the wasp nest.
Oh, the panic, yeah.
If an AI becomes so advanced, so perfectly tuned, that it flawlessly mimics a sympathetic, warm human receptionist during a panicked midnight emergency, does the caller actually deserve to know they are speaking to a machine? Or is solving their immediate problem quickly and efficiently all that really matters?